close. Timing this out, moving forward, the European model has the center of Irma right here through the central Florida Keys on Sunday morning with hurricane force winds across the southern part of Florida coming out of the east. And I will time this out, I promise you, as soon as we are back from this presser from the governor of Georgia, Nathan Deal.
The southern region and coast of Florida, it is considered an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane at this point in time, with winds exceeding 150 miles per hour. The most recent trajectory models have it impacting more of Georgia than the original projections that were designed, we thought, only to hit the coastal areas of our state. It appears that it may very well be moving more westward than had originally been thought. We don't know at this time, and we'll, of course, bring everyone up to speed as we know more about that particular trajectory. I want to caution all Georgians that just because the weather now may appear to be calm, do not take that for granted. This is a rapidly moving hurricane, and the weather and the consequences of that hurricane can change dramatically within a relatively short period of time. We all remember the level of destruction that was associated most recently with Hurricane Matthew, and we understand that this one has the potential of being even more devastating to our state than was Hurricane Matthew. We are working very closely, as you will hear from the gentlemen who are behind me today, with local authorities, and they will elaborate on those details more in just a moment. Let me bring you up to speed also as to what we have done from the executive branch. As you may know, we yesterday issued an executive order that expanded the for Hurricane Irma. That order also authorized some 5,000 National Guard members, and we will have General Girard to explain to you what that may entail. It also declares a mandatory evacuation of all areas that are east of Interstate 95, in all of Chatham County, and some areas that are actually west of Interstate 95 that will be potentially affected by storm surge. That mandatory evacuation will go into effect tomorrow, that is Saturday, September the 9th, at 8 o'clock a.m. But the earlier individuals in those areas leave, the better it's going to be, and the more complete their evacuation will be. This executive order also allows for contraflow of traffic on I-16 beginning tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock a.m., and you will hear further details of that in the general here who can explain further those issues. Now, those are the overviews that I can give you at this time. I think it would be appropriate for you to hear from the various department heads of our state agencies, and we will begin with Director Homer Bryson of the Georgia Emergency Management Agency and also Homeland Security to give you an up-to-date report as to what is happening in this agency, which is, of course, the lead agency with
in southern Georgia and bring some damage with it in terms of wind and rainfall. Let me show you the timing once again. I want to get everybody up to speed on when we can begin to expect for example, tropical storm force winds in South Florida and then everywhere up the coast. I want to do this. This is from the European model, which has actually been a very, very good model all along, outperformed all the rest. So the center on Saturday morning of Irma, right about here on the coast of Cuba, moving northward. And what it's got on Saturday morning is the tropical storm force winds extending up to about Miami with an east wind, increasing the water rises there as well. And also on the northern facing shores here of the Keys. So this is a significant impact that it's already beginning to be felt, we think, by tomorrow morning. And then going through the afternoon hours, watch what happens. The European model brings Irma, the center of it, right across the central part of the Florida Keys, bringing hurricane-force winds into Miami, into Fort Lauderdale, into West Palm and areas farther to the north. Certainly coming in off the water, you'll have wind gusts over hurricane force and over 100 miles per hour across the Florida Keys in those areas shaded in white. So it also means that we're going to have impacts extending far and wide with a strong wind here coming in off the north-northeast, and that will continue all the way during the afternoon hours. This will be moving probably up the middle of the Florida coast, or middle of the Florida peninsula. You can see that by Monday morning. We've and near Atlanta, or even Monday night and early Tuesday morning. Some of these areas in blue will experience wind gusts of over 60 miles per hour, which can bring down lots of trees. I do expect power outages to be widespread across parts of South Carolina, even North Carolina, and parts of Georgia as well. Now, all of this sort of expectation of storm surge now that's going to be really considered on the west coast of Florida and the interior threat of wind is associated with a sort of westward trend in the models. And that is now beginning to be reflected in the storm surge forecast that you see outlined here by the Hurricane Center. Do expect 3 to 5 feet of storm surge here across parts of the west coast of Florida, south of Tampa, all the way down through southwestern Florida with as much as 5 to 10 feet of inundation above normally dry ground. This is very significant. This does not include the wave action either. This is just the water rise, wave action over above that. And likewise on the Florida East Coast, very significant and life-threatening storm surge associated with that onshore flow as Irma continues to move up the coast about like that. Now you might be looking at this map and think to yourself, well, wait a minute, we don't have any storm surge forecasts here. That's coming. You know it's coming. It's just a matter of time before we sort out exactly some of the details that we need to regarding the exact track. But storm surge forecasts will be up for parts of northern Florida and even locations perhaps in southern Georgia as well. Now, going back to that westward trend in the models, this is really important as well because the European has been leading the way, and now lots of the other guidance are now following its lead, showing you a cluster here by Sunday morning of the center of Irma passing through the Florida Keys with, again, lots of storm surge, right? You got the south wind here on this side, you got the north wind on that side, so there's going to be storm surge flooding on all sides of the Florida Keys as Irma moves through, and of course on the eastern shores here of Florida, you're going to have that east wind that is going to be potentially devastating, not just in terms of storm surge,